Hello and welcome to We Got a Podcast, a podcast about Dragon Ball from A to Z, from Earth to Namek to Sadala. We cover it all. My name is Randy.
And I'm Doug.
And I'm the Kenjul in training.
Oh, all right. We're the world's strongest under the heavens trio de dangers here every other week to talk your ear off about fights, goofs, and everything else in the Dragon Ball cosmos. Douglas,
hey,
tell me how you're doing.
Dude, good. You know what? I think Ken knows what's up. Astrobot came out for us recently. I keep saying for us. I'm trying to break the fourth wall, whatever. Astrobot has been an amazing, fun, stupidly joyful game that has consumed my life for the past few days. So yeah, I love it.
Have you beaten it yet?
No, I learned this by myself that I'm not very I don't like spending more than 2 hours at most on a video game. I get tired. I'm like, let me take a break. But then I also reveled in that. I'm like, oh no, I like that so that I still have more game to play for longer. I don't want to just beat the entire game for over the weekend and just be done with it. No, I want to chomp at it little by little.
Randy, are you playing it?
I'm not, but Andrew is, and I've been sitting in the living room a lot while he's been playing. I will get to it, but I am not currently.
It's a fun game to watch too. It's just a joy. I'm not a big I don't have a lot of nostalgia for a lot of these PlayStation characters, but I still you know who they are from the Mindgeist of living. It's just it's everywhere. So oh yeah, there's Ratchet and Clank. I never played the game, but that's them. That's so cool. This game has so many oh my god moments. That's them. That is so great.
There's a lot that I don't know. And there's one in particular that I only know because of Randy. And
what?
Yeah. I would.
Is this?
Is it a spoiler?
It is. Yeah.
Okay.
And
that's hilarious.
I think the game's fantastic. It's a sad game in a way too.
Why? It's like a graveyard of all the characters that will never get sequels to.
It is. Yeah, as you start getting all the different franchise bots in your crash site area, it's oh yeah, they're never making another one of these. They're never making another one of these. Another one of these.
But it's such a shame because I've never played Ape Escape before. But just in the first level, there's the Ape Escape game you play, and
right.
it's that's a joy. That's fun to play.
Doug,
oh my
go
god!
Play Ape Escape 1. It's so good.
I don't know. Maybe
the second
I thought it was
one of those.
I'm thinking of Monkey Ball. I think that's what I'm confusing that game for.
Oh yeah, Monkey Ball's great. You can play as Kiryu in Monkey Ball. The second world, the little video game. I don't want to spoil what it is, but the video game world.
By the time this comes out, people will be far into it.
God of War, right?
Yes.
Almost made me emotional playing it because the way the music hits is so incredible. The music in this game, dude.
Yeah.
If I were I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Astrobot is better than Mario Odyssey or better than Mario 64 even, right? I think those are such a different echelon. But if I were Nintendo looking at Astrobot, and they're playing it, everyone plays each other's games.
Yeah.
They're sitting here playing this game thinking oh, someone else has cracked the code and they figured out how to do what we do.
Oh, okay.
And so I think maybe they're
let's collaborate.
No. It's they can't rest on their laurels, right? They have to keep pushing themselves further and further. So it's awesome. I'm just delighted that it exists. Yeah.
Dude, as soon as in the God of War section, you threw the axe, I was and then as soon as you call it back, I'm oh my god, this is amazing. It's so good.
I read that the Sony Santa Monica studio helped them with that to make sure that the feel of the axe was right. Yeah.
Yeah,
because it feels
good.
Perfect. Yeah.
The one thing, I wish it was on VR, but also I'm it doesn't need to be in VR, because the previous game, because this is the third game. Correct me if I'm wrong, but is this the third Astro?
The fifth, I think.
No,
it's the third.
Really? I thought there has been
the free one that came on PlayStation. That's not the VR one. Whatever the VR one that I played and bought was a joy to play. I'm this and Beat Saber are two of the best games on VR. But then I stop and think about it. I'm oh, that game didn't need to be in VR. It was just a bonus.
No,
but yeah.
I don't know what the last video game level will be because I haven't encountered it yet. But by the time this comes out, I'll have beaten it. I don't have to worry about people spoiling me in the comments.
Right.
I haven't encountered any Spider-Man bots yet. I haven't encountered any Final Fantasy bots yet. So I'm what is that last world going to be?
Oh, I didn't even think about those characters. Yeah. Spider-Man, no Final Fantasy. I didn't think about that at all. They got to be in there. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. And you'll notice, though, I'm holding up a not Astrobot controller because the Astrobot I pre-ordered it and it's delayed from Amazon, so I'm probably not going to get it until I wanted to play the game with the Astrobot controller, to have it in matching, but That's going to be delayed for until like October probably. So I'll probably be the game by then.
Genius marketing.
Yeah, it's great.
I want to say, just to correct for myself, it's Team Asobi's 5th game, but it is, their 3rd Astrobot thing. So that's why I had 5 on the brain.
Gotcha. But yeah, that and I finally unboxed this guy, this Mecha turtle from Heat Boys. Oh boy, what a sweet ass figure. It's heavy and everything. It's got a shell on the back that's like all Mecha Gundamized and everything. It's so cool. It's so stinking cool, guys. Don't you agree?
We love thick boys here.
Yeah. It's cool.
Thick and heavy.
Ken, what's you been up to?
Yeah, so I've been playing Astrobot, and I think one of the things that make Astrobot particularly so great is that, Concord got canceled right away. And then Astrobot comes up and everyone's hyped up on it. And then just today, we had the wet fart presentation for the PS5 Pro, and now everyone's upset about that.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just like Sony being on this roller coaster right now. It's
Jesus.
insane to watch.
Did you get your Concord skin for Astrobot before it got taken down?
Yeah, right. No, I'm not. Let some
Can't
lost
wait for
media
that.
stay lost.
The Concord level, the secret Easter egg Concord level in Astrobot. That'd be hilarious.
It's going to be really awkward when that one Amazon show has that Concord episode that comes out in a couple of months. Yikes. Because that's happening. So what is it? Next Level or whatever it is, that show that's like an anthology thing about video games? All right. Well, you'll hear about it soon.
Someone was telling me about that, and that there was going to be a Concord episode of it, and I thought that it was a documentary at first. And I'd be like, oh man, how amazing would that have been to have filmed a documentary for this whole game. And then it gets canned like this, and you're like, we have to re-edit all of this footage into a horror movie.
Oh, that'd be pretty dope, actually.
That would have been interesting. Nice twist, but
do something with the property you don't have anymore.
So for now, I'm a gamer for a little bit, until I beat this, and then it's on to Zelda, and then it's on to Mario and Luigi, and then I'll probably revisit the Yakuza 8 DLC because I never touched that, and the game and the years I started it with Yakuza.
I need to beat Like a Dragon because it's taking up like 60 gigabytes on my PS5 that I don't have any space on.
Yes.
I had to delete Kakarot off my PS5 to download Astrobot the other day. I had to choose something. I'm like, all right, Kakarot, sorry.
So while I'm not gaming, it's kind of gaming. I am doing crosswords out the wazoo. Crossword puzzles, dude. I'm a big crossword puzzle nut.
Hell yeah, dude.
My brain is so
gamer.
wrinkly, dude. You don't even understand, man. I'm making connections left and right. I'm learning all sorts of stuff about Broadway plays and characters from Rent and books
Broadening
that I've never heard of
horizons.
before. So it's crazy, dude.
When's the next tournament?
Oh, I don't know. So the way that the New York Times crossword puzzle works is that Monday is the easiest, then Tuesday is the harder, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday get harder than that, and then I think Saturday is easier than Friday, but then Sunday is just as hard as Friday or something. And I can only do Tuesdays so far. I go Monday into Tuesday, and I can tap out there. And sometimes if I work with someone else, I can squeeze out a Wednesday, but dude, no, you got to level up. These are like
I had no idea it was that intricate. That's
Mensa
that's
tier
fun.
Puzzles, dude. And I'm going to join Mensa. So that's my journey right now. Randy, what have you been up to?
So what have I been up to? Well, guys, I've only got one thing here on my list. And Randy's been in a little bit of a Castlevania hole lately. So a couple of weeks ago, always. So a couple of weeks ago, we had a nice Nintendo Direct, and they announced, hey, we're re-releasing the 3 DS Castlevania games in the collection. So nabbed that on Steam, and I was like, you know what? I actually didn't finish some of the stuff in the Game Boy Advance collection. So I went back, and I was like, I'm going to play Aria of Sorrow for the Game Boy Advance. So I did that. Really good game. And then I was like, well, now I can move on to the DS sequel, Dawn of Sorrow. Or I can rectify things in my past that I've never completed. So I went and I played Castlevania Rondo of Blood for the TurboGrafx 16/PC engine. Never played that. It's the game that takes place right up before Symphony of the Night. Like it's like 3 years before it or 4 years, something like that. So you've heard of Symphony of the Night before. It's the first actual Metroidvania Castlevania.
You might as well be speaking French to me because I had no idea what you said.
That's okay.
I want to interject for 1 second, Randy. You were not going to believe this. I started Symphony of the Night.
Kenneth,
Just recently, I started it, like, since we last recorded, so...
Wow.
I'm only, like, 20 minutes in, but...
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Well, I beat Rondo of Blood, and turns out that there are multiple paths you should be going to, like, get the full story. So, like, I never rescued anybody. Like, there's these, like, main cast girls that you need to go save, and I'm like, oh, they never showed up. And I'm like, oh, I never went to go save them. I don't know where that is, but whatever. I played Rondo of Blood, and that was the first, like, classic Castlevania game I've ever played where it's just, like, a side-scroller. So I finished that, and I'm like, well, beat Rondo of Blood. Might as well start Symphony of the Night all over again. So I'm a couple hours in, and it's been a good time. I'm playing the fan patch of the Sega Saturn version, which I'd never played. So that actually has another playable character that the PlayStation version doesn't have. And they've also went in with a couple of other things using the PSP script and audio, because that got a whole new redub when it came out on the PSP. And it's neat. I like it.
Ken, are these characters I'm seeing in Astrobot that like have the fancy robes that you unlock pretty early on?
Some of them.
Okay.
The guy who sleeps in the coffin and the guy in the chair next to him, are from Castlevania.
Okay. Gotcha. I've never played Castlevania ever, Randy. I'm sorry.
That's okay. But it doesn't end there, because I was also
did you know
like...
that Alucard backwards is Dracula?
Whoa!
We've all seen the hit
bet
Batman movie, The Batman Curse of Dracula, in which Bruce Wayne writes Dracula on a wall and then looks in a mirror and sees Alucard or something like that. That movie's great, by the way. Check it out.
I watched Scrubs when they named the play like Dr. Acula.
Oh, there you go. But I also realized that I never made it too far in that Netflix Castlevania series. So I finished season 2 and I'm almost done with season 3.
Like three seasons, nice.
They made, God, I think it's like 5, and then like another sequel series, which is a retelling Rondo of Blood, which I just played.
Jesus.
Yeah,
How do you have so much time?
I don't know where he pulls these time out of. He's got a room of spirit and time, and it's all wherever it's like the room of spirit and time wherever he's at. I don't know where you get all this freaking time.
Well, the big thing is that I'm on a bus for like 40 minutes in the morning and 40 minutes at night. And I got my Steam Deck, so I'm just playing stuff there. So that's helpful. I find the time. I find it, I think I'm just good at time management, I think is what it is.
Maybe. You must be. Yeah, you're a deity of time management then.
Or everything in the rest of my life is slowly falling apart, and I do not notice.
I would fairly say you were an angel at time and space.
Maybe. Well, that's an interesting thing to talk about if we were going to jump into our main topic. But I just really want to say, if you've been living under a rock and you haven't seen it, there's a new Daima trailer. You should go watch it, and then also get ready, because it's coming October 11th, even though we don't know what the U.S. situation is at the moment.
Guys, I recorded an initial I didn't tell you guys. I recorded like an initial reaction. Like I'm like, oh, there's a Daima trailer. I'm gonna record myself and my actual genuine reaction. But I didn't like the angle I had myself at. I'm just like, I'm not gonna upload this. But so it's out. It's out there, but only for me to see.
Lost media.
Lost media.
And our first Daima episode should go live October 30th, I believe. If I am getting the schedule right, we'll cover the first 2 episodes. We'll go every 2 episodes.
I'll actually watch this Dragon Ball media close to release time as opposed to Super manga.
Well, we made it homework now, so you have to. Isn't that fun? Making your hobbies a job.
A job.
But what if we rewound time like Weiss could to when you made that really great segue about angels, so that we could talk about Dragon Ball Super manga review. Part 3, we're here for more Moro, Galactic Prisoner, Arc, all that other fun stuff. You've been waiting for it, so we're here with more. And in case this is your first episode listening to this podcast, which, it's sometimes people's first one, you don't know what Dragon Ball Super is. So it was a manga that began in 2015 alongside the Super anime, and it concluded, the Super anime did, but the manga kept going, and it's was being done by Toyotaro and Toriyama, and it's still going. But Ken, why don't you give us the recap of what's been happening so far in this arc?
Last time on Dragon Ball Super, things went from bad to worse on New Namek as Moro's mercenaries arrived on the scene. With Daikaioshin stripped of his god power, Goku and Vegeta beat hasty retreats to differing destinations. While Goku grapples with Merus and Vegeta ventures for Yardrat, Moro's mobilized members seem to be closing in on Earth. What wicked warriors await our heroes next?
Oh, man.
What does?
Pepper in the alliteration. It's so good. So good. So, temperature check. Doug, you're new to this.
Yeah.
What did you feel about this volume?
First time reading. Dude, I wish I was recording my reaction to reading these chapters because, oh my God, what a blast did I have reading these chapters. We are back, baby. Coming from the downhill of the last volume, I guess, like to this, I knew he was building to something. I knew we had to suffer through those last chapters to get to this, and I did not know how satisfying this would be. I'm like, yeah, okay, we need to get these goons so that our characters can fight, but oh my God, so many times I'm just like, what? Even my roommate was like, are you singing up there? I'm like, yeah, kind of, I'm singing. I'm singing these praises of this series. Why didn't you guys tell me the series was good? You just kept telling me, Doug, you should read it. You should read it. You didn't say, Doug, you should read it because it's good. I've never heard that once in my life, so I blame you guys for that.
Okay.
Pretty sure we did. We could check the tapes.
Did not.
There's
Never did.
copious amounts of tapes. This whole closet back here, full of analog.
I'm like, why do they like this?
tape.
They keep getting me to watch this series, read the series. I don't get it. Oh, I get it now.
Ken,
What?
You've been through this before. What do you think about this volume?
One thing I noticed as I was reading, and then especially as I was taking notes, is that it's a lot faster than the last volume, because the last volume was a lot of stopping and
quick
talking
read.
and
Yeah.
working things out, and this is a lot more action going on. We're on the path. We don't need to set stuff up anymore, and we're just going and going and going.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. It's real good. I felt like the beginning of it was still kind of, we've got to build up to something. So the first chapter, when I finished it, I was like, oh, I'm only one chapter in. Oh, geez, I got way more to go. And then it really picked up after that, which was super, super exciting. And I think there's some very cool twists and turns that happen in this that, break your expectations, get you really excited for something fresh and something new.
Yeah.
So we're covering volume 12, which is chapters 53 to 56. So let's start with chapter 53. I'm going to go through this and we're going to talk about all the bits and pieces. Ken, by all means, pump the brakes when there is something cool you want to talk about.
Okay.
So, or if there's something
but not
I
Doug.
forget. Yeah, Doug might forget, but Doug never has to be accelerated. I don't know. I'm going to stop talking. It doesn't make any sense.
Thanks.
So we're starting off. Shimareka 7-3 and Yunba are heading to Earth and decide that they need to make a pit stop.
So we've already skipped Tenshin.
Piccolo.
Yeah, great.
Okay.
So
yeah.
no one knows how to get a hold of him, but can't they just do telepathy at him? Right?
Could
Like we
they?
know they can do long distance telepathy because Goku was doing that with Trunks in the Buu arc.
Oh,
So unless they just don't know where Tenshinhan is to
that was a Goku to King Kai to Trunks kind of thing. They didn't show that, but that's what was going on. It's a Goku thing.
The hidden lore, the headcanon.
He learned that on Yardrat.
But anyway, it doesn't matter because they do get Tenshinhan in the end. So
Yeah, and they even threw like
so-
a little joke at Yamcha too, just like, should we get Yamcha? Oh look, there's Jaka.
So they are headed to planet 877 Green 4032.
Sorry,
which is
Senpai.
the same descriptor used by Whis in Battle of Gods.
Really?
And is also Chozenshu guidebook lore. I mean, because of the movie, the Chozenshu came out to promote the movie, so it had information and new bits of lore from the movie. So it's in the
I
guidebooks
was
now.
like, Chozenshu was like before that, but no, if it's around that time, that makes sense.
Okay,
Well,
here you go.
we also need to mention that Eska is now here. So now Eska,
Yeah.
Dende, and Piccolo are all together, and they are likely the last Namekians.
Yeah. Which you
Likely.
can see it hits Piccolo pretty deep, like, God dang it. Not again.
Yeah.
But already, like, just the moment with these three goons that I hated just because they were all generic goons, already just doing these like few pages, I'm like, okay, they're giving a minute to breathe with these characters, making them characters, not just goons to me. So I'm like, yeah, now I like these guys.
Right.
Just from these
You gotta-
first few pages.
They're not Ginyu Force level. I know these guys and I love them, but like
No.
they're still really enjoyable.
They're starting to get their own personalities, which is interesting.
The big threat here is 7-3, who's an android who has a copy ability. He's like Kirby, kind of.
Yeah.
Where he can store up abilities.
That was pretty
You can only
cool.
hold
I
him
didn't
for a
know
half
about that.
hour.
Which I thought was like,
Well-
at first, I was like, that's really weird. Why would they do that? Why can't he just hold it forever? But then, like, they immediately rectify it by saying, like, he was, created in a lab by scientists. I'm like, okay, I can buy that then. They have him, like, a time limit, or that's as much as they could give to have this guy hold this power.
I mean, man-made.
Yeah.
Even the Avas needed to be plugged in,
Exactly.
That's true. Until later when they didn't. Well, one of them didn't.
Yeah.
The neck thing is still kind of weird, though, that he has to grab the neck specifically. That I don't jive with, but whatever.
I mean, I'll take it rather than like, oh, I just saw a thing that you did and I can do that now and I'm as strong as you. So
Right. It was either that or, like, you have to kill them to get their power, which would ruin a lot, so.
cover them in pink goo,
Yeah.
It gives something that needs to be guarded against. That can be guarded against. So, and these guys will get here to Earth in 10 days. Oops, they're here
10
right
days.
now.
Oh,
Because-
no. Oops. That was so cool.
It's
When
great
the-
because
the-
Dragon Ball is this series full of like, oh, so many days will pass and this will happen, or this character
Yeah.
will come back, Goku will wake up, get to Namek, etc.
You get kind of bored of that after a while.
Yeah. And then he just flips the script. Is like, no, they encountered some teleporting hedgehogs and they're here right now.
Ooh. Which was so cool that those hedgehogs had that power in the first place, and that they didn't show. Toyotaro didn't show like this 7-Eleven guy like come and kill them. It's just like he just like sees that he has that power, and the next thing you know, like they're on Earth. I was like, that's a great way to show that.
And
you don't need to show it.
He shows the teleporting hedgehog in his crystal.
Yeah, so good.
How do you guys feel about Piccolo saying that he never stops honing himself? That he's always,
It's
sharp as a...
par for the course for Piccolo. Nothing too
Yeah,
unusual.
yeah, nothing seems off there. I mean, it seems pretty in step with that character. He's always training. The way that he's always chastising Gohan about things means that he probably is taking care of himself regularly. And so
you always,
in character.
every time you ask someone like, what do you think Piccolo's doing on his off time? He's like, oh, he's just meditating. So yeah, he's always doing his
Well,
thing.
sometimes he's got to pick up Pon from kindergarten.
Yeah. I mean, it's got
Not yet.
responsibilities.
She's not there.
Not yet. You're right.
Not
you're
where
right.
we're at. She's
Yeah.
still in diapers.
Of course.
I did love the Jocko. Everything Jocko does is fucking hilarious. But just here when they're like, Krillin's like, okay, Piccolo and Gohan should be good enough, right? Jocko's like, yeah, sure. See you guys. And he just tries to dip out. It's so funny.
So good.
The Macareni gang are traitors now in Moro's eyes.
Mhm.
Shimoreka goes to kill them, and Piccolo's like, no killing allowed in the sanctuary. Badass.
Very Cyberman-esque, like reminiscent of like him
Grab
grabbing
the
the
wrist.
Cyberman before. Yeah, I thought I was gonna throw him in the air
Yeah.
and blast them, but yeah, no killing on the sanctuary.
Yeah. Very Kami coming through in those moments. Yeah.
Big old fight, because Piccolo kind of gets them off of the sanctuary and they're going to go down and fight. And is that where 7-3 does his thing, or does he do it on at the lookout? I can't recall.
No, he does it at the lookout. He gets Piccolo's power, does a
Immediately.
Makanko Sapo at him, which
Yeah.
then
Oh, that's right.
forces Piccolo and Jocko to go on the ground.
That's what it was. So I like that. Of like, oh man, he has a copy ability, and he's gonna get you right away.
Right
Whoops.
away. Which and I think it's explained as like they copy your ability of how strong it is at that point in time it got you. Which like threw so many things too many questions in my head. Like Randy, did you have questions about that too?
Yeah, there's two things Jocko says in this same chapter that made me like, okay, so which is it? Because he's like, oh yeah, Mick, he's strong, and his copy ability just gives him a bit of a boost. And then later on, he's like, no, man, he's just as strong as whoever he touches. So, if he was weaker than Piccolo, now he's as strong as Piccolo.
No,
for this
no.
30 minutes.
The wording is very careful there. It's the ability he uses is as strong as that, not like the character himself is like you got to throw away power levels with this because this threw my whole perception of like abilities and power levels out the window. It's like if his Makanko Sapo is as powerful as Piccolo's, does that mean it's not a power level thing? It's like Piccolo's been honing this technique and knows how to do it better, like a way to do it better. Like Piccolo from 20 years ago could have had the same thing if he had the right technique. If he twisted his fingers a little more this way,
Right.
that's the master
Angle.
version of it. Yeah. You get what I mean?
I guess maybe. I don't know. That's not clear on that.
Because
You would
otherwise
need
that's
Caramel
very
Mama
like
to explain it.
weird, and it's very weird to just be like, it's as strong as you are now.
we get a nice panel of a stretchy arm fight going on.
Yeah.
Which is cool. You don't ever see that because no one else can do that but Piccolo and I guess Penne of the Macaroni gang.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
I was almost going to think like Piccolo's going to be like, oh, I'm used to fighting a clone of me from oh no, that's just a filler episode in Garlic Jr.
We also learned that 7-3, just like regular androids, or not regular ones, like 17 and 18, infinite stamina.
Oh,
so
spoiler.
he's never going to get tired.
Satan goes to and fight against Yunba, which is like he never engages him, but he tries. He's on his way.
There.
And then,
Yeah.
I liked the big Makanko Sapo struggle between Piccolo and 7-3, and it's like, oh man, Piccolo got outdone. This sucks. And then we get to see something that it's kind of another flip on the script. Yeah, Gohan's there and takes off the glasses. It's like he saved Piccolo.
Are we all doing it? Okay.
Yeah. So my dad and Vegeta are off world.
Yeah, he's like you're the strongest one here. So my dad's yeah, that's so great.
Oh, it is good. It looks like from the first panel we see Gohan, so long as Toyotaro is being consistent, it looks like he is in his ultimate form from the start, which makes sense because I can't remember how the manga handled the Tournament of Power. Did he have to like struggle to like get back up to his ultimate form, or was he like, oh no, I still got it from back in the day?
It's different, right? Of how they draw him,
right?
Because Superhero reestablished Ultimate being kind of more of a form, a transformation for him, where we kind of hadn't been in that state before, where his eyes were always filled in and everything.
Right.
So
that's
they
right.
changed
That's the way I tell.
Well, Battle of Gods had him, like, they changed it. They're like, oh, actually, no, he doesn't turn Super Saiyan because he's still in this form all the time. But then Resurrection F, it was, I don't got it anymore. Like, I could barely turn Super Saiyan now. So it's like, okay.
Regardless of where he's at, he's enough right now. And he's doing it. And also, something about the way Toyotaro draws Gohan here, but this feels more like Gohan to me than when Toriyama drew Gohan at a teenage level. Like, Gohan.
There's a couple of times where I've like, is this Vegeta? No, this is Gohan. Okay.
Really? No, Gohan in the Buu Saga always felt like off to me. Always felt like a different character than the Gohan we knew when he was younger. But this one, the way Toyotaro draws him, looks like, oh, this is what the adult version of that young Gohan from Namek and in the Cell Saga we knew would look like as an older adult.
Okay,
I don't know if that's just me.
I kind of see where you're coming from. Yeah.
Something the way he draws him. Something about the way he draws him is really good.
Is it like his facial expressions? Is that kind of what you're thinking?
I think the
like
facial
the
dimensions. I don't know, just the way his face is shaped. I don't know. It's just I just looked at him like that's Gohan.
We got Goku and Merus training, and realizing that this kind of has to be a life or death situation. So they're gonna go all out, kind of. And it's kind of like Merus is like, well, I'm gonna fight to kill you. That's how we're gonna.
Goku's like, no, you need to. Goku's like, you need to bring it on. If that's what it takes, then let's do it. Mm-hmm. So Merus is like, all right.
Yeah, we got Vegeta meditating on a spike, and then kind of slips up and it's like, your spirit is less stable than Goku's was when he was here doing that, and he was able to stand on that spike for 150 days without any issue.
Is that what he says?
So that sounds to me like you want to talk about the timeline here for a second.
Oh yeah,
here we go. Ken's timeline. Here we go.
December 24th, 762, Goku leaves for Yardrat, right? So we remember Christmas Eve, 762 is a busy day on Namek. Ginyu Force, Frieza fight, and then Goku leaves for Yardrat. December 29th, 762 would be when he arrives on Yardrat. 5 days from Namek to Yardrat. Hatsuka, which I don't know, have they even named this guy yet where we're at?
No, I don't
the
know.
green one?
So, no.
Okay, well, his name's Hatsuka. He notes that the Ginyu Force were on Yardrat when they were called by Frieza. This is something Vegeta also says. He says that they were in the middle of conquering Yardrat. And so that's why the spaceship had everything pre-programmed in it. The anime, of course, contradicts this with them appearing to leave from one of the planet Friezas, not actually Yardrat, so you can just throw that out the window. So we know here 5 days, because that's the established passage of time. There's no telling how many days from between Earth and Yardrat. So August 764, Goku arrives on Earth. So that means that he was in between Namek and Earth for 600 days, meaning 450 of those were not spent balancing.
Oh.
Maybe a lot of that was time just trying to find his way back to Earth, because we know he can get
Or
lost.
Physically recovering from everything that happened on Namek.
True.
Well, he wasn't in great shape.
He didn't have $90 to spend on a medical machine at time of Nation's release.
I don't know if he was heading back to Earth or if he was heading to where Frieza was, and Frieza happened to be heading to Earth.
What do you mean? What's the difference?
Well, not really different.
He was heading, eventually. He was heading to Earth to catch up with Frieza, and he was going to teleport right there because he's like, I'm not going to land there in time. But then it was like, oh, Trunks is there. It's okay.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about it.
No. Goku was going home. Frieza was the one chasing after Goku, but Frieza was in a ship that was faster. So then that's when Goku's like, to beat them, I gotta...
Well, Frieza was heading to Earth because he's like, that's where Goku's going to be. Because he doesn't know that he's on Yardrat.
Oh, okay, maybe, yeah.
Well, Gohan does a cool finger blast at 7-3.
Excuse me?
Yeah. You heard me, Doug.
What chapter was that?
Yeah. Boom. Straight into his back.
Oh, yeah.
It's cool. And then Gohan gets his Piccolo gi back.
Oh, so beautiful. It looks so good in this.
Doug, we didn't even mention
We're on
to you.
chapter 54 again, by the way.
Right.
Which Doug,
starts
we didn't
off
even...
with the title page of like Gohan punching Seven.
Yeah.
Like, right. I like that's just the title page, right? You kind of disregard that sometimes if you're like a casual reader like I am. So I'm like, whoa, they're already fighting, and I'm like, wait a minute. Why is his shirt have a hole in it already? Did I miss something? I went back to the title page, and right there, it starts from the freaking title page. How cool is that?
Gohan's not wasting any time.
So, Doug, we didn't mention this to you when we started this Moro adventure, but Gohan gets the Piccolo gi for the Tournament of Power as well in the manga.
Oh, okay.
So the Goku,
I kind of recall seeing images of that.
Yeah, the Goku gi never comes back. That's gone.
Wow. Okay, cool. I'm okay with that.
You'd skipped ahead to him getting his gi back, but he actually does quite a bit of fighting in his regular clothes. He does that, punch that Doug brought up when he first starts on. 7-3 uses Piccolo's like barrage attack he used against 17, and then everything comes in. And it's like, okay,
Hellzone grenade.
Yeah, it's like, okay, well, did he do a barrier thing or whatever? But then, like, nope. That's when he just instantly appears behind 7-3 and finger blasts him right in the back. I know your moves
now.
better than just about anyone, is what he tells Piccolo. And it's like, oh, you figured that one out. Like, yeah, man, I know all your stuff.
That's great. Well, they must have trained together, I'm assuming, because the giant thing he wouldn't know about unless they trained together off screen.
Yeah, which brings up kind of an issue for Superhero, I think. Just a little issue. In which Piccolo forgot that he could do that. And, Kuririn's the one that hey, remember what you did at the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai? But here it's implied that, he would have had to have done it around Gohan in training. Plus, he just saw 7-3 do it. So... Toriyama, come on, dude. Glaring plot hole in Superhero.
Toriyama, yeah. There are a few things throughout these few chapters, actually, that are like, that doesn't seem right. I forget what they are, but once we go through them, I'll probably remember.
Oh, well, I'll tell you what doesn't seem right. Piccolo saying Gohan is someone we can count on, same as always.
What? That's true?
No, dude. Universe 6 wasn't there. Didn't help out with Goku Black. Was there some level of coercion involved in the Tournament of Power?
This is why I didn't want to read Super, because I'm like, it's not going to be faithful to a good Gohan.
Wasn't there Broly?
The reluctant hero.
Look, he was there when they needed him. He fought against Frieza back in the day when he was a wee boy. Cell, Majin Buu multiple times. Tried to stop Buu from being born and shows up and kicks some butt right in front of Piccolo right there. So, look. Is your dad who loves you going to be like, isn't my son great? Other than the times when he's
shit.
He's going to be like, nah, man, he's the best. I can always count on him. In his heart of hearts. So,
man, it is so good to see Gohan in action, though. Just wrecking shop. It's so good to see that.
Oh, it is so good. He's pummeling 7-3 even when he's giant. Doesn't matter. He's like, nah, I can get around you, nail you right in the stomach.
the shot where like where 7-3 is giant and like Gohan's like charging up the Kamehameha, and then like one of 7-3's hands comes through a mountain, and then the shot of like Gohan like noticing it and then freaking dodging it while still charging the blast. Oh my god! I was like, that's one of the moments I was like, oh my god, yes, this is so great.
Yeah, we could have had this animated, but we're getting Daima instead.
Oh, I'm fine with that. I like Daima.
So just as he's about to fire off this giant blast, take out 7-3, 7-3 whoop, shrinks back down. Time's up on Piccolo power.
Yeah, unintentionally. It didn't work out.
But Jocko is like, just blast it anyway. To which, like, it looks like he's going to do it, and Kuririn's like, he's not actually going to do that, right? Like, he's going to hurt the Earth. And Piccolo's like, nah, man, he's not an idiot. He'll blow it up right on the surface. It's fine.
Reminiscent of the instant transmission Kamehameha against Cell. Like, is Goku really going to blast the Earth? No. I mean, I didn't know they could detonate the Kamehameha blast, but whatever. I'm sure they can at this point.
Look, you can bend it. You can blow it up.
That's true. You know, if you can bend it, yeah.
Yeah. Shimareka shouts out to 7-3 to use what he has in stock. So we're like, oh,
that's my second. Like, what? Momo was like, in stock? Oh my god, yeah, he can use Moro.
That's why
freaking out.
We send these 3 to Earth before Moro does. It's not just to have, you know, be like, oh, we got to send in some goons so that way we can really extend this. It's so that way Piccolo and Gohan get a taste of what's coming, because they don't know. God. They have not fought Moro, and now they are, basically.
Yeah. Jeez.
Oh, which is so good. And it's current Moro, not like the old man in the jail.
I made sure to go back. I was like, did he have a goatee or anything? Like, no, he was clean cut, baby.
We get one of the best one of the best Moro lines where he's like, I don't like my neck getting touched all the time.
Yeah. Personality. It's like, yeah.
It's the little things that count.
Generic evil guy. Any evil guy would have been like, I don't like having my neck touched by inferior scum.
It's a funny thing to say out loud, though.
It is.
It's a weird sentence to just say, but it's like, okay, like obviously in context it makes sense. But like now I'm thinking about it. He doesn't like being touched. Also, his power to eat or, you know, absorb people's power doesn't involve touching, unlike 7-3 or like Android 19 and 20. I don't know, just a thing. Speaking right out of my brain.
That's a podcast.
So Shimareka reports to Moro apologizing. It's like, sorry, we had to use your copy ability, like the copy ability of you so quick.
Oh, we had to, you know, that or death.
Right, yeah. So it turns out there's some stronger dudes here than we expected. Saganbo is like, we gotta get out. We gotta go there. Like, they're in big trouble.
Well, they can watch the fight remotely,
which is pretty cool.
And then Moro's amazed. He said 10 million years ago, Earth was a planet of mere monkeys, which lines up.
And then it winks.
So in the manga, in chapter 445, Senpai, Shin refers to 5 million years ago as when mankind was still learning to walk upright, which is still like the range of actual real world evolution. Yeah. So just another nice note in the history of 10 million, 5 million. It's all.
You could say there are still monkeys since they're Saiyans, right?
Yeah, it's another thing is like this when you use this kind of lingo, but I guess it's only racist when Frieza says it.
right.
It's all about how you say it.
Intent, yeah.
We didn't mention that big blast that Gohan shot. 7-3 absorbed it because he has that ability, being Moro, and now he's starting to absorb the power of the fighters. He expressly says, like, I'm not taking Earth's power because that's for Moro. I'm just taking these dudes' power.
Right.
Which I wanted to check because remember when we had Goku and Vegeta fighting him, Moro, and he was absorbing their power, they went down in abilities. So like, you know, from blue, they couldn't hold that, to God, to Super Saiyan, to just base. Yeah. Every shot we see of Gohan still got the closed eyes. So like he can hold that form.
I'm assuming the thing. Ultimate form, it's a different kind of level of like state of being.
Right.
When Gohan lost it, it's just like he lost the rhythm, not the power, just the rhythm.
Go for it, Ken.
Piccolo and Kuririn do a 1-2 punch. If Goku and Vegeta are coming and they're training and they're going to be stronger than ever, you can't beat them. And Moro's like, oh, okay, well then everybody stop. And these 2 little cattle that I've let out they're going to come back fatter than ever, and I'm going to eat them up then. And Saganbo's like, dude, that's not a good idea. Like, just
are you sure about that?
And Moro's like, chill out, dude.
Moro's getting very cocky. He's like, don't worry.
Do not deny me my Thanksgiving dinner. I want it.
But you have to think, Moro is so old. Remember, when we saw him 10 million years ago, he was already old at that point. Yeah. So, like, these are just insects to him.
He's still in that mindset of, there's nothing that could touch me.
Yeah.
And says
he
that...
he did fight them, like, before.
That's true. He's got a lot of tricks up his sleeve. He'll go into space if he doesn't want to, be defeated by them because they can't breathe. And if he's on a planet with life and junk, I'm just going to get stronger. And we'll see how that goes for you. So they say they're going to return in cycle 7, which is 20 days from now. Jocko is like, no, man, we got to cycle 8. That's when
There's
you got to
no way we could do it in 7 cycles. Give us 8.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, okay, sure. So that bumps it out to 2 months.
I was so hoping it was going to change from 20 days to 21 days. That would have been even funnier to me, but it's still a good, like, that's the cycle. That's how time works. That's great still.
It's still good because, Jocko did it, extended out that long specifically because there's this new anime movie coming out next month and he just can't miss it. So if Earth is gone, they're not making that movie.
Funny gag. Was it like, was it actually like a meta joke where like Dragon Ball superhero movie was coming out at that time or something? What great promotion would that have been?
No. It wouldn't have been a Dragon Ball thing. When did... No, because Broly would have already come out. That's right.
Broly was a while ago now.
Yeah. I don't know. Was there something else? I'd have to take a look. Like maybe...
It probably, if it wasn't Dragon Ball, then it's just definitely like a offhanded comment, just like in the Battle of Gods, where it's like...
When did that Dragon Quest movie come out? Was it that? I don't know.
Oh, no. It's just an offhand line. Yeah, like in Battle of Gods... they talk about
30 minutes to get somewhere. Yeah.
It's just,
that's enough for an anime episode.
It'd be better if there was a little thing of just like maybe Toyotaro's looking forward to it, or Toriyama's like, oh yeah, I got tickets to that. And like, okay, I'm on right. That is a little joke. But yeah, it could just be.
Can they name drop? It'd be funny. Like, oh yeah, One Piece film Red Z, whatever's coming out.
That would have been good.
One Piece film Red Z.
I don't watch One Piece.
They've combined them. So we're back to Goku and Merus. They're still in the Room of Spirit and Time. So they've got, is it 6 months or 3?
So Jocko, they have 6 months because Jocko gets word to Merusu saying like, hey, you got 2 months to do this. So
right. It's like, okay, well, we're in here in a 3 day or 1 day is 3 days. So we're multiplying it. I must have just hit the wrong button on my keypad. I wrote 6 like a moron.
Well, no, it's 6 within the Room of Spirit and Time.
Yeah, Goku and Merus.
But oopsie, they're not protected from outsiders in there, and Whis is watching them.
Mm-hmm. And that's when the theories come to fruition.
So is he watching them like in fast motion?
Yeah, 3 times the speed. Yeah. Guys, you're skipping over the biggest change in character we've ever seen.
Oh?
I can't believe you skipped this. Goku asks Merus, do you eat? And Merus goes, I can't eat. And I cannot. It's all the same to me. And Goku says, if it's all the same to you, then maybe I won't eat either. He's just gonna not eat for 6 months and train. Like that's insanity.
That's weird.
Literally, because he won't be able to do it. He'll die. So he's
look.
Yeah.
This is all fantasy. Their hair changes color when they scream. Okay.
It's an evolution for Goku because he's wanting to take after his next master. He's like, I'm going to follow you because you're going to get me to the next level, and I'm going to emulate what you do. Not necessarily knowing that it's impossible for him because...
Yeah.
I think it's, like Ken said, it's like Goku's intent is there, but not like specifically for that, but just it's more of like I should do what you do.
Right. But knowing how important food is to
That's true.
Man,
that's very true. For him to even say that as a sentence, as an example, is kind of wild.
I didn't even think about it. The other 2 times I've read this, and I read that, I was like, what? Huh? But yes, Whis is spying on them along with the Grand Priest. And, Whis wants to confirm about Angel Law. Yeah.
Yeah, Angel Law.
And Grand Priest is like, oh, or is this about Merus? And Whis is like, oh, you're aware. And that's kind of where
chapter ends.
So let's halt right here. Doug, what were your emotions as you were reading this?
This part I was like, I fucking knew it. He's some kind of freaking angel deity. He wasn't the son of Whis or anything like I thought maybe he was the son of him. Brother, they say they reveal next chapter he's like the brother, but are they all brothers technically?
Yeah, they are.
Okay, it doesn't mean anything special. Yeah. But then I was like, okay, that's why he knows about Ultra Instinct and all that kind of stuff. That makes total sense. But it also kind of weird that he's the only defect angel that has a moral compass. And it's like, no, there's bad in the world, and I should be on the side of the good. It makes the other angels seem bad. He's
new. He's in training, you know.
I guess, but it kind of made me feel better if all the angels just like they didn't have a choice. Like that's just the way the angels operated. Maybe it is, and Merus is like a defect or whatever, and he has his moral compass, but it makes the other angels look bad if they don't.
No, he gained his bias because he joined the Galactic Patrol. It's just that none of the other angels had done that. None of the other angels became cops.
And I'm sure they've seen
in Dragon Ball, when you're a cop, you gain a moral compass. So,
which is, again, this is a fantasy. But yeah, man, your alarm bell should have been going off. Pattern blue. This guy's an angel. So
he was purple.
Yeah.
Man, you guys are sharing the same brain here.
Yeah.
So we're moving on to chapter 55. Grand Priest dispatched the angel in training Merus to broaden his perspective. We already went over this, that angels must act impartially, and beyond that single law, there are no restrictions on what we can or cannot do.
And technically, Merus hasn't been like crossing the line too bad.
And Whis is kind of like, hey, Grand Priest, how about you just let me handle this? And you step back, and I'll watch over him and make sure everything's hunky-dory.
Because Grand Priest probably would have killed the guy. You're done.
I like that Whis tries to like cool him down a bit by like, I've trained mortals. It's not such a big deal. It's like, well, he's doing it to affect the world and, give justice to everything. You do it because you just get free food out of it.
Yeah, because you want food. You caught me.
Right.
I don't know much about the angels though, because when they were in Super, I didn't really like pay attention too much about what their whole lore was, and I'm sure maybe got a little more deeper in the Super manga for the Tournament of Power or whatever, but I never really cared about the angels. But yeah, this checks out. They don't have they're impartial, basically.
Right.
Are they really though? Because if you look back at like what happened in Broly, where Whis is distracting Broly for a period of time, not fighting him, but he's just kind of being this moving target.
Yeah.
So there is, it's a stretch.
Yeah. Some could say he was just having fun with them or just kind of getting out of because Broly was charging at him. It wasn't like Whis going at him. It's just like, oh, get out of here.
If he's just dodging.
If anyone's going to know the right loopholes to work with, it's Whis. So
true.
I'll let it work.
Exactly. So Grand Priest leaves Merus in Whis' care, and we're back on Yardrat.
Hell yeah.
Where Iriko is like, we're outside of, HQ's jurisdiction. I can't reach them at all. I don't get any updates. I don't know what's going on. Oh, hey, look, a ship that I recognize.
A ship I recognize.
So real quick, Pibara says to Vegeta, your spirit is now more polished than Goku's, and you managed it in no time. So we're not at the time skip yet. Right now, it's still only been probably like a few days that he's been there.
Mm-hmm.
And he's already blown past it versus the 150 days it took Goku.
Yeah.
You think hearing that, he's just like, oh, okay, I'm all in now.
Yeah.
It kind of makes sense within universe. Vegeta's always like learning stuff after Goku and like kind of mastering it. Like, just like, oh, Goku can do it? I can beat his time. Gives him more motivation to like
beat
his time. Yeah.
Yeah. Once he knows that it's possible, he's like, oh, okay, then I can do this. To which, he gets healed by Pibara. It's like, oh, do I get to learn healing
Can I do that?
Like, no.
He's like, slow your roll, buddy.
Yeah.
You're not there.
Crazy high level stuff. First, you can learn teleportation, but then
that's the most basic thing is teleportation. Yeah. Which, like, Goku spent 150 days plus on this planet and just learned like the basic.
So these goons have arrived. Vegeta decides to go stop them. He's just like, oh, they're here, and he's just on it he's in protecting mode, which is a continuation of where he was on Namek, where it's just like, no, I've got to, atone for this stuff and protect this place. And I don't know.
He calls Iriko by name and not like you whelp or something. Like anytime Vegeta called Gohan by name, I was like, oh, because then he would be like that half breed or whatever. He would never Kakarot's son. It's rare for him to call people by name.
Like a show of respect that, like, whoa, Vegeta has that for other people.
Right. He gets stopped before heading out to go fight those guys. Says, you're still in training. Be mindful of how you wield that power. Yeah, and Vegeta's just kind of like, what? Like, okay, sure.
I've trained, buddy. Man. I know what I'm doing. Yeah.
Yeah. I've lifted a few times, if you know what I mean. We get introduced to Yuzun, who looks a lot like
immediately
Zarbon.
Like, oh, that's a Zarbon alien.
I mean, it's fruit named, so just like Zarbon was.
It was a lot less obvious right off the bat in the manga and in black and white. Really, before he transforms, your only indicators were the headband and the earrings that Zarbon also wears. So if you weren't paying attention to that,
and the face,
Dragon Ball,
yeah. I immediately because of the headband thing, I'm like, oh yeah, but yeah.
Yuzun is like, well, too bad. I'm going to go report this to Moro because this place is really great. And Vegeta does a finger gun and he's just going to shoot a little blast to, take out that radio. But it's this giant thing that totally encompasses
the way
Yuzun.
Taro draws it too is so perfect. Like you get the feeling of the scale of like, this is an accident. Like, whoa, this blast is way bigger than he thought it was going to be. Before you even see Vegeta's surprise reaction, like that panel looks so good.
Well, he's like back on one foot, like his balance is completely thrown off. So it's like,
no. I'm talking about just the one shot of like the big shot. Like everything should seem according to plan because nothing seems off. But the way Toritaro draws it, you get that sense like this is not how it's supposed to be.
Yeah,
that's what I thought the panel was him off balance, and that's how you told
the initial one.
Okay. So he does that, and then he one hit KOs the other two goons. They're flying in again, and just boom, they're just both out instantaneously. I mean, we don't know how weak or strong these guys are, but it's still. I mean,
they're technically knocked out. Yeah, because they go run over to the ship off screen. But Vegeta's body and mind are now in balance, and they never have been before.
And that's what the result of that is. That's crazy.
Goku's has been, at least one would think, since he was learning the Kaioken, because I know that was a big thing for him doing that. And then if he was here for like a year-ish, and his spirit is polished and he's now in sync. So
but he was balancing for 150. Oh no, he was just on the planet for 150 days, right? Not balancing.
He was balancing for 150 days.
He was specifically balancing for 150 days? Oh, okay.
Yes. So thinking about that, the strides that Goku made with being in his spirit and body being in sync, really great. Vegeta keeping up without, and working against that, basically having to swim upstream for like the last 15 years to be caught up with Goku is like Toyotaro is letting Vegeta shine in a way that I've always wanted, because I love Vegeta. I mean, I love his struggles, but also like seeing him finally be like, oh yeah, I'm strong as heck. I can do stuff. He does
that like classic Namek Vegeta smirk, like cocky, like you guys just get out of here because this is gonna be hell for you guys.
There are a lot of accusations that Toyotaro is a Vegeta fanboy. And yeah, he is. He's got
I was just saying, if he is, he's doing it well. He's doing it very well.
And, there's more character growth because, I mean, we got to talk about Yuzun transforms very much like Zarbon did. And Vegeta's like pounds him a bit, throws him into a building, Yuzun throws it.
The Yardratians are like, whoa, we've never seen a transformation before. That's a weird thing to say.
He's like, I've done that before. I just wanted to, it's a little bit further ahead, but, Vegeta won't let them return to Moro, but he gives them the option to surrender to the Galactic Patrol. He's not like, I'm going to kill you, which is like what old, previous Vegeta would have been like, I get to enjoy murder and it's kind of okay because these are bad guys. But he's like, no, you're going to jail.
Yeah.
That's good. I like that. We got thrown buildings. Go ahead.
Yuzun lets slip that Moro's next target is Earth, and he tries to escape. And previously in the fight, he had thrown this, I guess, like the space needle, space needle at Vegeta. Vegeta deflects it, and it goes flying up into the air. And then as Yuzun is escaping on his ship, it falls back down. Like Vegeta's about to blast him. And he's like, huh? And he sees the thing come and land on him. And Vegeta's like, well, I guess he killed himself.
Yeah, he unalived himself there. It's not on me. It's not on me, guys.
Yeah. Everybody saw that. It wasn't me.
That
He
dang
did that.
Vegeta. But it's a good thing it's Sunday and that city is everyone's off on holiday that day because you blew up that city.
So they're like, hey, maybe we should get back to Earth and stuff because of his next target. And Vegeta's like, no, they're not there yet. I'm still training. Like, I'm going to get everything out of this that I can.
Yeah. I forget, does Yuzun mention the 2 months here? Or is that just left vague?
I think that's left vague because then we get an explanation of like how Vegeta kind of like knows after a bit, at least when things start happening.
But Vegeta's like, look, forget teleportation. We need to move up to the next advanced stuff.
There's no time for that. Yeah.
I need the real sauce here. I don't need these little gimmicky techniques from that clown. I don't need that.
The elder agrees. He's like, no, he's right. There's not enough time for that. So yeah, let's get down to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then go ahead.
Moro is watching. Like, I think in an adjacent planet or whatever. He's like looking up at the sky, and I assume that's Yardrat he's looking at. And he's like, oh, this Vegeta's growth is quite impressive. I guess I've got to set out to some new planets right away so I can become stronger to match up to that.
He said, I need to find and stock up to find my upper limits, if those even exist. And Sagambo's like, oh, dude, I'm getting scared.
Yikes. Yeah. Is this the dude that I'm with?
Which, like, makes me... It feels weird, because then even, I think Merus mentions it, where he's like, I feel bad for those other planets in the meantime, but, priority is that we got to get you strong enough to take them down. It's like, I don't feel like Gohan or anyone on Earth would be like, there are other planets out there that are being genocided, like massacred, and we're just going to let that happen. We're just going to wait on Earth and train. That feels weird. Some characters, maybe like Goku and Vegeta, would kind of train, but the others to let that kind of happen in the universe, that felt kind of weird. Don't you guys think?
The Galactic Patrol is still out there, and that's why their forces are run thin. Well, I mean, we don't know how much or how little they're doing. We only see certain amounts of genocide.
Yeah, but like in a different universe, it'd be like they're off right now killing people, like huge massacres of planets. We got to go do something. Maybe I'm just watching too much GT, and then I'm like, let's go to space.
Well, worst case scenario, they could always Dragon Ball their way out of it. So
I guess
they've done that plenty of times where they're like, who cares?
I probably wouldn't have thought about it if Merus wasn't like, I feel bad for those planets, but oh well. It's like, what about those other planets?
I think that's enough. I mean, at least for the reader to be like knowing that this is on their minds. We don't need to have every character be like, oh gosh, but what about those other planets? What do you think, Piccolo? Yeah, but those other planets though, I feel bad. Like we already had one character say it. They're all kind of on the same level.
It just feels like a plot hole of just like, we're just going to let this happen for the story.
Now our 2 months pass. Goku wants one last spar, and Merus is gonna go all out, and then we get that halo start to appear around his neck, and suddenly, whoop, we're outside of the room of spirit and time. We're back on the planet.
That halo.
Oh yeah, man!
You're right.
Take a look at it. Wow. Yeah. Whis whisked them away. Merus calls him brother. Finally get the big actual thing of like, yeah, you're an angel. Whis knows Merus is planning to go to Earth to fight Moro, so I'd like that he not only can see into the Room of Spirit and Time to see what they're doing, he can also know what his brother is thinking.
Is that what he was saying?
Yeah, says, I know that you're planning to go to fight him. This isn't just training Goku. You're planning to go there too and to fight him, which means they'd be eradicated from all existence, because that is what happens if you disobey angel law. And Whis takes him back to Angel HQ. He gets his, his staff and his full, robes and everything.
He turns blue in the color version.
So Goku's just left there alone. Like, wait a minute, I can't fly this ship on my own.
Such a funny guy.
So now the avid reader who's paying attention might be like, well, couldn't he just teleport back to Earth?
I thought about that. Yeah,
he could if he knew what direction Earth was in. And he had someone's power to lock onto. So remember in Resurrection F, Gohan had to go all out and pull all his power out for Goku to find it, to lock onto it, to get to him, right? So There's
I figured he was
limits
like either
to it.
just really far away or like, didn't know where to go, what direction to point at. Yeah.
Well, and as we're going to find out, Goku's ability to sense far away is not as advanced as Vegeta's becomes. So, Goku's only there 150 days, dude. Come on. He only learned the basic fundamentals.
That's huge that he like, just to think back in like the Cell Saga or beginning of all that stuff, like he comes back and spent all this time on this planet and all he learned was the basic fundamental thing. Like that's wild to think about in retrospect.
I think I didn't think about this until we started talking, but the idea of Goku balancing his body and mind on Yardrat, do you think that helped him gain mastery of Super Saiyan quicker?
I wondered that, but I mean, he didn't have any trouble turning back into it against Frieza because he powers down and he's like, this fight is over.
He was still rage-filled, I'm sure.
I don't think he was that angry when...
no, he was in a constant state of rage, I'm assuming, during the Super Saiyan.
Yeah, he was still adrenaline up, I think. He was still like...
But once you're like days removed and you've reached Yardrat, he's had time to calm down fully, like reset himself.
I'm trying to recall, and I mean, this... It could just be for, dramatic effect, and I don't remember how it happened in the manga, but because I've seen it a bunch of times when Trunks comes to Earth to confront Goku, and he says, to turn into a Super Saiyan. Trunks does it instantly, but Goku, is gritting his teeth and working at it. So it's not easy for him, at least according to this episode. It shows that he's needed to put some effort into it.
You are right. He does grit his teeth and then he transforms. He goes, and then he transforms.
So there's still effort. Can't just boom, it's done. I mean, it does the same thing against 19 and 20.
Hey, maybe that was his first time turning into a Super Saiyan since the Frieza battle. He didn't have a need for it when he was training. So it's,
I doubt. I don't. That's not the read I get.
Why? Why would he have to use Super Saiyan at all on Yardrat or anywhere else?
He's like, hey, look at what I can do. Well, I guess he doesn't use it on Yardrat because they said they never seen a transformation.
Exactly. Before. Boom. Solved it. There it is.
Right.
Sorry, Senpai.
Chapter 56 time, boys.
My
Jocko
favorite
and a bunch of
intro of all time.
Jocko and a bunch of others show up to Earth.
No dialogue. Jocko shows up. As soon as he steps off the ship, he just Ten Hut to next to some guy. The guy looks at him. He's like, "No, you need to go up to the front lines." Jocko's like, "Nah. Shh, I'm good. A bigger guy comes up, pushes him. Get over there. So he just kind of tiptoes to the front, and then just the shot. Oh my god, what an intense shot of the whole crew! I've never been so pleased with a pose off. Then to introduce it with comedy, interject the Jocko character, boom, and it to be so badass. Oh my god, I love it. Love it.
Jocko, Kame Sennin, Kuririn, Piccolo, Gohan, Tenshinhan, Chaozu, and Yamcha.
I was like, yes, please. I don't want him to be a joke character. I love that he's here and he looks so cool.
This is the first time in all of Super in which Yamcha is not treated as a joke.
For real? Dang. Finally.
Goku has been updated about what is happening with Moro and this whole situation, but they cannot reach Vegeta, so they do not know what his status is and how that's going to go.
Well, Goku hasn't been updated. It's just that he knows when he was supposed to come to Earth.
That's what I meant.
I think as when Merus was sent away by Whis, they were time's almost up. So at that point, Goku's just trying to get to Earth now.
Yeah.
Well, Jocko mentions he's been informed or whatever.
It wasn't a recent phone call. Yeah.
Right. Versus Vegeta, where they know literally nothing.
Boo is back on Earth.
Boo is brought back. Yeah. Yep. Brought home to Mr. Satan. Which is great. He's like, you kidnap him again?
You have to deal with me.
So good.
Dende's like us to Eska, so what's the ship look like? I thought he said a big mother. I was like, no. a big mother ship. The way the text is laid out. My brain autofilled that to the ship is a big mother.
Yeah,
Jeez, Eska,
it looks kind of like a top.
Oh, Eska, yeah.
Look, man, I just saw genocide. I'll say what I want.
No cap, Eska? Dang.
It's like a big top, and Popo's like, oh, like that? It's up in the sky. Uh-oh. And then we get a bunch of little ships that all come raining down. We see a whole bunch of different places on Earth and all these
spread out like Dragon Balls.
These bad dudes showing up.
Oh, I didn't put this together just now. I guess because they're on, the temple, they're super high up. I'm like, it doesn't look like they're spreading out much. Oh, duh, because they're super freaking high. It doesn't take much to spread out across the planet if you're super high up.
I love the way they handle all the different groups as they're heading out. Like, Kudin and Roshi go out, and then Yamcha goes out, Tenshinhan and Chaozu. And as they go out, and then they're followed by the spaceship, their backup comes after them. Yes. And it's just like, oh, dude, this is so well organized. And
yes, I love that. I didn't even think about that. Like, how are we going to do this? You're going to leave them by themselves? No, but they got like some backups of Galactic Patrolmen. Yeah,
it truly feels like these characters have been drafted into the Galactic Patrol and are acting as part of a unit.
Yes, and like they're like the captains or whatever, like of the unit. Yeah, that's so cool.
So Kudin faces off against Yunba again. But the girls who we've encountered before are there. And so, of course, this is the Roshi matchup. And Roshi says that he's going to go after those, quote, those nasty babes.
Those nasty babes. As soon as I saw the girls again, when like Krillin and Roshi were landing on there, that's when I'm like, oh yeah, where's 18? Where's Shu Hachiko? Why hasn't she like, because then it feel weird because we have Krillin fighting the women again, like he did in movie 9 with BoJack. It's like a repeat kind of thing. So I'm like, okay, where's 18 to like come in between that? But then I remember Roshi was there. I'm like, oh yeah, no, Roshi can take care of that. But I just want you to know that I had 18 on the mind right there. It's like, oh yeah, where's 18? Okay, and I just kept going.
So you might already be like cringing at the Roshi stuff, but Doug, I promise you it's good. So
I wasn't cringing. I knew when I'm like, yeah, Roshi, yep, that makes sense.
And I love this bit where 7-3 shows up, immediately necks Piccolo and Gohan. And then Shima Rekka's like, oh yeah, dude, we encountered this invisible race. And
that could conceal
how convenient.
He's an android, so you can't sense ki anyway.
Yeah.
He's got invisibility powers now. Absorbs them straight off. So that's like, okay, don't forget, he's as strong as you are now. So you've been training for the last 2 months. Now he's still strong. It's not just like Piccolo from 2 months ago.
Right.
He uses the Makanko Sappo on him.
He got the updated patch of Gohan Piccolo.
Gohan jumps in front, makes a cool barrier.
Yeah.
And then
he spins it too, I think.
Does. It's
the way he moves to it. Yeah.
Yeah, and then his blast goes out, and then Kuririn on like the other side of the world's like, oh man, that must be Piccolo.
Yeah. Or no, he's like, just some stuff's going down.
Right. Takes a big chunk out of him. It's weird. They're like, well, it's not like he can regenerate immediately. It's like he's Piccolo, so just regenerates immediately.
Immediately. That was a weird, like, they didn't stick with that at all.
Right. Or have a reaction like, oh crap, yeah, he can.
Yeah.
Oops.
We
how
get the
cool
great
is this barrier thing though, before we like move on, just like, and how it kind of makes sense in the brain, like, is the way the dome is shaped. Of course, the blast going into it would be pushing more. It just looks like so aesthetically pleasing. Like, yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And it looks even better in full color, Doug.
Yeah. Yes. I'm so glad I'm reading this full color. It looks incredible.
And Gohan dancing on these energy blasts that Piccolo's shooting out as he's advanced. Yeah.
That was another moment for me. I'm like, yes, Gohan, look at my boy. Him dodging one of the blasts at the very end, but it's also like not just a dodge, it's a wind-up punch. Oh my God, it was so cool.
It's so cool, but I feel so bad. I ruined it for myself while I was reading that. I'm like, this is cool. Wait, like Gohan can change direction when he's flying. Why does he need these other blasts?
I thought that too, but I'm like, whatever. He's just like,
it's the rule of cool. It's fine.
Yeah.
And they're just kind of working together and beating the snot out of him. And they're like, oh crap, he can only use a copy one at a time. So he's super weak against a duo attack. And Piccolo and Gohan are already doing it. Like, oh yeah, man.
Yeah, so that's the reason why he was jumping on those and not just flying, is that those would be movements that 7-3 could read. But Gohan doing this movement by jumping on blasts by Piccolo is something that 7-3 can't compute, because that's a combo attack.
Because I was thinking that's a weird like power that is like he copies it and he also like learns how every technique works. Which is like, I was like, okay, that's super weird. That's super convenient.
Yeah, it's like in Civil War when Captain America's beating up on Iron Man at the end, and then Iron Man's suit is like learning the fight pattern. It's like that.
Yeah, just gonna fight better.
We get a cut to Yamcha, who's out in the city, taking out a whole band of convicts on his own. It's like, I'm actually like one of the strongest Earthlings on the planet. So like,
I'm so glad it doesn't turn into a joke. I'm so happy. It's just like, it's just Yamcha.
Because you read that, you're like, okay, what are they going to do to my boy now? Oh, never mind. He's just like, all right, let's go to the next one. We got more to do.
Love it.
Like, oh, I love it. Then we get the Flash of Death, which is a mixture of the Masenko and the Makanko Sapo.
Yeah, so in Japanese, I pulled the Japanese manga to look at how it was worded, and it's the Masenko Sapo. So it's like a fusion of the two terms.
That
it's
is
great.
so cool. As it's happening, I'm like, oh my god, is that just what a Makanko Sapo is? It's just like a fusion of the two moves. But you're saying it's its own. It's two combined. It's not what a Makanko Sapo is comprised of.
Gohan says Masen, and then Piccolo says Kosapo. So.
Okay, because I wasn't sure because it's called Flash of Death, like what I'm reading. So I wasn't sure if that was
translates the Makanko Sapo as the Light of Death, and I believe for Gohan's Masenko, has ever just been called like Demon Flash or whatever. I think that might have been a video game thing.
Yeah, that's Budokai 1.
Right.
Yeah. So it's okay.
On my quick reading of like not really like is that just are they saying Makanko Sapo but just like separating the two so like Gohan so the blast is even stronger because Gohan's focusing on one while Piccolo's doing the other. Oh my, it's whatever. It looked so cool and it's just so genius.
And they're too strong. 73's got to switch over to Moro right now, otherwise it's over. Like just right off the bat. Even though he's absorbed these two strongest warriors.
Yeah.
Yeah. He reaches out to absorb the duo's power now that he's Moro, and they don't move. You just see two figures who've landed on there, nothing, and then they just leap up like, what's happening?
This is the most excited I've ever been in my life.
Then we get the double kick of 17 and 18 hitting Shimareka and 73 or 7-3.
This was very reminiscent of like when Gaara came to save Rock Lee during like, the fight. Oh my god, I was like, oh my god, these characters, yes. And then like 17 with like these guys are what's giving you trouble? What's the deal? Kind of thing. It's like, oh my god, yes, give me that. It's so good. I never thought I'd be happy to see these two characters. And now I'm like so happy that I own these figures of them in these outfits. I'm like, yes.
All comes back to that.
It does. It always does.
We get a quick drop here that Goten and Trunks are at Monster Island. So again, we're not going to see them. We're not seeing them until the superhero prequel. So, and 18 is being paid, to do this
by Capsule Corp. They're
very funny
a lot
to
of
have
money.
17 be the altruistic one. He's like, I don't want Earth wrecked, but 18 is like, I got to get paid, otherwise I ain't doing squat.
It makes sense now where they're at in life.
Get that bag.
Yeah.
We get Vegeta, who's in the middle of training. He's just like, oh. Everything seems to be going on Earth now. But so like, okay, we got to go. He's like, no, Moro hasn't joined. I still have time. I need to master this.
Because he didn't master. Yeah, because he failed whatever he's doing.
But Moro is getting frustrated. And he's like, all right, it's time. I'm going to step in now.
And one last thing of, Goku asking directions from a space squid.
So funny. So Toriyama. Like it's the combination of the Vegeta like, oh, okay, like things happening, I should start getting serious, to then the funniness of just Goku asking a random squid alien for directions. I'm lost. Which way is Earth?
And it's so funny because this is the closest to like a quote dumb Goku moment that we get.
Yes.
And even then it's played for a gag and it's kind of sensible. He doesn't know where he is.
He mentioned it earlier. It's not like it's just random. He mentioned it earlier as Whis is leaving. Like, wait, I don't know how to operate this thing. Yeah. And we just see that come to fruition here. It's like a setup, a build up, and then a knock out of the park joke. Like it's great. And again, I was surprised for what happens next in this chapter. It's not over yet, buddy.
We get a bonus little something of Frieza learning about everything that's going on with Moro and them. That escaped convicts are apparently attacking the planet that Frieza and the whole gang was going to next, and he's like, "Okay, well, we just move on. Nothing good.
We don't need a conflict with them.
I'm not mixing with convicts."
I was so surprised to see Frieza. Like, he's just not in my mind at this point of the story. I'm like, oh yeah, this guy is the thing, and like,
he's out there.
He's out there. I forgot that is he out there in the super anime? Like afterwards, is he brought back to life?
Well, we wouldn't know because there's no super anime after the Tournament of Power.
Tournament of Power? I mean, that's what I mean. From the ending of that, he wasn't brought back after like agreeing to join.
He gets his
life
back.
Okay,
yeah.
I just forgot. I just didn't, like I said, I don't care about Super or the anime. Like it was very like whatever. Which
that's why he joined.
I'm trying to read this manga for so long, but now I'm so freaking happy that I'm reading the Super manga.
Because that's why he joined the Tournament of Power. Is in exchange, he gets to come back to life if they win. So he's back to life, and they're like, we're just going to let him do his thing. You know, if he wants to be evil again, we'll stop him, just like we always have.
I'm also kind of extra excited. Like it's a double-edged sword. Where I'm super excited to see Frieza again because I know from just spoilers what happens in the future with this character. So I'm like, oh yeah, he has a part to play still in this story.
Yeah, at the time, this was a reminder that like Frieza's out there. Don't forget about that.
Yeah. Because he immediately writes off like, I'm not going to be part of this arc, so don't worry. Like we're going to go to the next planet.
Yeah.
Well, so I'm okay, but he's still around is what this story's trying to like remind us. It's great.
Exactly. Ken, is there anything other timeline-wise that you want to touch on that we haven't gone over?
No, I don't have it up, so we're good.
Okay, sounds good. Doug, you got any predictions for our next volume?
Oh man, no, I don't. I'm so bad with predictions. I don't know. I'm happy that the story. I'm just letting the story take me, like I always love to do. And I guess Merus is going to join the battle. Gohan's going to show off more, but once it comes to Moro, that's where the limit of Gohan's power will end. Classic Dragon Ball stuff. So that's when Goku and Vegeta have to show up.
What's Vegeta's killer technique that he's learning?
First of all, I'm so glad that Vegeta is not learning instantaneous movement, and him not learning it makes sense to the story. Like it to keep it special to Goku in a sense. Like I love that they're like, there's no time, because I really thought a chapter before that now he's gonna learn instantaneous movement is gonna be less special for Goku. No, there's a reason, and he's not gonna learn it, but he's gonna learn something new, a little more advanced, maybe not level of like healing, but what else could be there in between? What could he whip up that could thwart Moro? I don't know, but I'm excited to find out. I'm so excited.
Right?
I'm
it's
back.
Gonna be
baby.
a fun journey.
I can't wait.
Speaking of being back, we'll be back here after a short little break.
So the opposite of back. The opposite of back.
It's 30 seconds. All right, we'll be right back. All right. Alrighty, we're back here for some more. We got a podcast. At this time, we get to hear what you guys, the listeners, had to say about this volume that we got to talk about. As always, over on our X page, Ken was so cool to put out the call for everybody to sound off on what they thought about volume 12. And why don't you give us a start there, Ken?
Yeah, Jacob Sawyer writes in, says, it's great. That's the main thing. I appreciate giving the supporting cast some screen time. Or panel time, I guess.
Yeah.
mean,
like I said, I was excited for this to happen. I knew it was happening, but I didn't expect it to be this good. And this handled so well.
Is this the first time Chaozu has shown up for a fight since the Saiyan arc?
Yes.
I can't remember. Okay.
I mean, technically he fought the Ginyu Force in some filler, but...
It was very surprising to see him, like... Didn't he say, like, I hope I'm not rusty or something like that? Like, it was very...
Right.
Oh, they even had, like, their own, like... They all had the Galactic Police.
Galactic Patrol.
But, like, it wasn't just, like... Everyone... You could have written it off as they just kind of crudely drew it on their shirt. But Chaozu and Tenshinhan had a whole-ass uniform with, like, the insignia on the center of their gi.
Some of them are in black, some of them
that.
are in purple.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, Piccolo probably made it for them. I don't think they stitched that themselves.
I was going to say, maybe they did. Like, they brought it. I don't know. But yeah, it was cool.
They had 2 months. Somebody could whip up some clothes, especially Piccolo.
I will buy those figure arts if you make them.
Parker Rico says, unfortunately, I'm not in the mood to read right now, but I will say that I love this podcast so much. It always makes my day seeing a new episode, and it helps me get through the workday. Keep up the great work, you three. Man.
Thanks, man.
So nice.
Yeah.
You know, I've said it amongst these two before, but, you know, like we take a look at analytics and stuff, and we're like, oh, here's how many people are watching, here's how many people are listening. And I never really process that those are, you know, actual individual people who are tuning in.
It's hard with just numbers. But when people like when you speak up and say something, it's like that's a human right there. That's crazy.
Boggles my mind. So, you know, don't thank us. Thank you for, you know, doing this, for time of your life spent listening to us jokers talk about a dumb cartoon from the 1980s. And it's good. Ken, why don't you take us with the next one?
So GGF at full name TBD, who's been reading along with us. This is also their first time going through this arc.
So cool.
Says, the fight with 7-3 was good. His powers make for cool-looking fights, but again, the callbacks are a little much. Did he really have to use every power Piccolo has? It started off as some cool throwbacks, but just kind of felt like Toyotaro completing a checklist by the end.
Yes.
Maybe that's a silly thing to be bothered by. I don't know. The fights as a whole are a lot better than the last batch, and it's always a treat seeing the expanded cast get to fight. The humor's good too. Jocko's great as always, and I laughed out loud at Vegeta's giant attack / reaction. Everyone's well written too. No one's acting stupid for the sake of the plot, and it all just effortlessly moves along in a way that makes sense. As someone who didn't really like Toyotaro's take on the material the anime covered, this might actually be turning me around on him. Only real complaint, other than the callbacks needing to be dialed back a bit, is that I don't really care about Merus stuff. The character isn't doing much for me, and I did know about him being an angel ahead of time, so there was no surprise factor there. But yeah, best batch so far, IMO. Sorry for writing so much, but there's just a lot here to like. Wish I'd read it earlier, but hey, maybe it reads better collected than month to month. I don't know. Thanks again for the book club. Thank you. Yeah.
I really agree though. Like the callbacks, I kind of like brush them aside because like once Piccolo started stretching his arms out, I'm like, oh, you're really doing like everything he has. But Toyotaro draws it so well and like incorporates it into battle so well that I didn't mind it too much. But I do get where you're coming from with like it did feel like too much. Like, oh, you're calling out every callback of moves. And also the Merus thing too. I'm also like, he's just like a tool being used to like help Goku unlock Ultra Instinct. But if I'm just coming from the Super anime, I'm like, yeah, he already has that. I don't know, but it's like it feels like his story is done basically, which I don't know if it is or not. But
again, in the manga, Ultra Instinct is different. It must be failed Genki Dama. You know, it's
right.
A lot more than that. So it's still a journey that Goku is on, and who better to teach him than an angel? Who's willing to risk it for the biscuit, you know?
Okay, that's why it couldn't have been Whis, because Whis probably wouldn't have. Okay. But what was Whis training him for then? Was it not for Ultra Instinct?
We'll get more into Whis' training later in a future episode of this podcast covering the manga.
Gotcha.
Of course. Sponge says, I know this might be biased by my name, whose full thing is at Chaozu #1 fan. Says, but anytime Chaozu gets involved, it is a treat, and this is really the first time he is honestly included since the Saiyan arc. Great stuff. If ever animated, I wouldn't mind some episodes to build out these smaller fights a bit more. Yeah, man. I mean, we get Yamcha for just a little bit, actually not being a joke. My worry is that if they did an anime, they'd be like, we got to put something in here. We got to have him fall over and be in a pose.
Worried at the beginning when Bulma did the, like, what about Yamcha? Oh, wait, there's Jocko moment where, like, just kind of dismiss him, like, oh, no, now you're just making a joke out of him because, you know, the internet likes making a joke out of him. But no, it kind of made sense and kind of recovered itself definitely when Yamcha finally showed up. The pacing of this is done so well. I'm afraid that an anime version, even slightly longer, might disrupt that nice pace that we were reading this at.
It's true. It's a good thing to be afraid of.
Packet at Proto Packet writes in and says, this volume feels the most like an on-the-nose response to fan complaints about Super from Toyotaro, especially with its proximity to the Tournament of Power arc. With that said, I think it does a great job of grounding the story and reminding us the risk of losing these beloved characters. The problem with Toyotaro was like chained up doing the anime content, especially towards the end. It was pretty clearly on a timeline that he needed to wrap that up before Broly came out so that they could have Moro coming out alongside Broly and content. I hate the word content so much. Like just media feeding into other media, cross pollination.
Synergy?
Synergy.
Yeah.
Pollination.
It works if you think about it.
Not too hard.
But, yeah. But no, totally. I mean, this is kind of like him getting to, you know, stretch out his legs. He gets to do his thing. Like, this is going to be my story, and I get to tell it, and, you know, I'm going to show people, here's what I can do.
Also, like, reminding us why he was brought on in the first place, like, with these abilities of his.
Yeah, it's a real great way to show his strengths. Yokai Alone says, like the previous batch, this one feels more like build up towards the big event, but I personally am enjoying the ride as we go. We got a pretty huge number of named minor villains at this point, but they all serve their purpose well enough so far. The Zarbon clone kind of had me think, okay, maybe we're pushing it. But I also get that it makes for a quick baddie whose gimmick we don't need explained. 7-3 copying by neck grabbing feels a bit weird to me, but it is pretty neat, I think. I like how they averted the "we will have X time to train" Dragon Ball trope with that sudden warp power, but then they did it anyway. No, really, that actually amused me. Also, the reveal that 7-3 actually had Moro's power in storage and that Moro let him do this is legitimately a cool twist.
Yeah.
The big part is, of course, the Merus reveal. I didn't want to hint at it before to not spoil Doug, but man, I remember back when Merus speculation was all everyone was talking about back in the day. If I remember correctly, a lot of folks expected him to be a half angel and there was some conspiracy, so some folks were actually let down here, but rereading it now without that buzz, I feel it just works well enough as is. My memory is getting worse as time goes on. I don't remember what other people were saying about Merus, but I know that I was invested. I was like, here's this new dude. He's got a dumb haircut, but I'm like, I love him instantly.
Yeah. I feel like if you stop and think about it, like, I'm sure you guys had months between chapters. They're like, think about, like, it's kind of an easy, like, he's got to be an angel of some sort, which what they were saying. Yeah, people were speculating half angel. Maybe there's something else additional that could have made it more interesting, but no, he's just an angel that is in training or whatever.
So, Doug, we can finally talk about this now, that even though this was a largely Toyotaro-driven storyline, the big thing that was from Toriyama was Merusu's backstory.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of cool.
This is a Toriyama thing.
And that explains why he knows about the Lord of Lords and everything, and he's just been an angel the entire time.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's an unfortunate thing where his plot ends here. It was what it seems like. And it's just a shame because, like, I wish there was more. I don't know. I hope we get to see a little more of him. I don't feel like I'm done with him yet. It doesn't feel like a satisfying conclusion to his arc.
But that is all that we've got from everybody there, which is great. So again, thank you, people who are sending in their thoughts. Thank you again, people just listening. It means a lot. And, we get to do this whole fun show and we get to torment Doug by doing trivia. So
I forgot about it. Are we still doing this? You snuck it in me again.
Yeah, man. I knew it. So
you have your voice on like, oh, bye, everyone. Like, nope.
Because you said before, you've got a certain way that you start talking about it and it tips me off. So
you changed it up. You nailed it.
You know? So, as always, we've got wonderful trivia brought to us by the trivia deity himself, Zenpai. And he has got us 3 questions here. And of course, you know how trivia works. You guys get to raise your hand, say buzz, whatever it is. And whoever gets it gets a point. And the points don't matter. And that's the beauty of all of this. It's all for fun. So, question 1 from trivia deity Zenpai. Which very famous Vegeta scene from the Battle of Gods movie is absent from its manga counterpart? Psst. I know, unfair to Doug, who did not read any of this. But
famous. The bingo dancing.
The bingo dance.
Instead, he cooks, right?
That's in the anime.
Right, that's what I'm saying. They swap out, like, oh no, even manga. Okay, you're right.
Yeah. It's not there. The bingo dance, he even complains in an interstitial that he was practicing it all along, and now he didn't even get to show it off, which I think is a good way to make that joke.
Does he do anything embarrassing in the manga in place of that? Like in the anime, he does the cooking instead?
I can't remember.
The manga of that
nothing
arc
memorable.
Moves at such a crazy fast pace that they just write off so much stuff.
Beerus just slaps Bulma in the face and that's it.
Yeah, pretty much.
We had 4 episodes of Super a month and then 1 chapter of the manga a month. So I think at that time they weren't entirely sure what they want to do. Like, okay, we need to keep up, so we've just got to move at a breakneck pace, to even to the point where, like, we don't even do Resurrection F. We're just jumping ahead to the next thing because we're running out of time. And also, he had already done a good chunk of that because he had done that that special, like, build-up thing to Resurrection F, the movie. So it's weird. So, question number 2. The manga has Future Trunks performing something that Gohan did in the main Dragon Ball timeline. What is it?
Say that again?
So, manga has Future Trunks performing something or doing something that Gohan did in the main Dragon Ball timeline. What is that thing that he did?
wielding the Z sword.
Oh.
Exactly. Train under the Kaioshin, namely with the Zeto Z sword, which he seems to have mastered much better than Gohan, obviously. Makes sense. Yeah,
because he didn't break it.
Sword.
I just kind of danced around the training wording there because Trunks explicitly trained as a Kaioshin apprentice, whereas Gohan just trained.
Right. Pick up the sword, swing it a bit, you'll unlock its special power, which is just like, I don't know, you did weight training for a bit, and then an old man did a dance. And that's what's great about Dragon Ball. Because
old men doing dances?
If you've read it and you know what goes on in that show, you're like, yep, that is what happens. But if you have never read Dragon Ball, you're like, what? Like, all right. Question number 3. The Tournament of Power arc of the manga shows an event that was originally implied to have happened in the manga and only confirmed near the very end of the original series. What event is that? Okay. Trying to break that down. Tournament of Power manga shows something that was implied in the original Dragon Ball Z stuff.
Oh, yeah. It has to do with 17 knowing Goku's voice.
It's 17's resurrection is where he wanted to start there, but I would assume that as well. Because, we get the wish of, like, bring back everybody killed by Cell. And they're like, 16 can't come back, whatever. But nobody talks about 17. It's only when Goku is doing the Genki Dama against Buu, you see 17, and you're like, oh, that makes sense. He'd be alive again. So this is actually showing, like, him coming back from that wish. And
it does show that?
Recognizing Goku's voice because they never encountered Goku in this timeline.
Is that headcanon? Is that headcanon that they had Goku's voice in their databanks, or does he say
I don't recall.
Like that? I don't remember.
I do not remember. I just have 2 words here as the answer, which is 17's resurrection.
Is that it for trivia?
That's it for trivia.
Okay. I want to cover 2 things here about this volume. So we're going to do the back cover, which is just battle-damaged Goku and then Vegeta in his normal outfit, whereas on the front, he's in his yard rat outfit, and Goku is not battle-damaged. So
after reading this volume, I wanted to, literally last page, I'm like, I need to buy this volume. I need to buy these volumes because I'm all about it.
Now, if Zenpai really wanted to come at us with trivia, he would have talked about the back slipcover of this, in which there are 2 characters from Neko Majin featured. Doug, do you know who they are?
Is it okay? Are you showing it to me now?
Yeah.
That's Jocko.
No, who are the characters from Neko Majin in this picture?
I just see Jocko on there. There's another person on there?
There's people in like a movie theater. Who are the 2 people from Neko Majin?
That's too small for me to tell, man. I don't know. You got to tell me.
Onio and Onio's honey are in this picture. Yeah. Canon. Neko Majin is canon.
Oh, man. I need to reread Neko Majin. Zenpai, I appreciate you. I can't answer any of these questions. This is specifically about me not reading the manga. You can't make questions about the manga that I haven't read. It's just a competition between you and Ken at this point.
Yeah.
Which is
that's all it is.
What they've been doing since GT, to be honest. And I'm down.
Honestly, and what's been happening since Ken joined is that it's no questions answered. Ken's got it.
Ken joined the podcast purely so that he'd have a platform to challenge Zenpai. And that's what this is. If you're watching this episode, you'll notice that I'm down in a corner. I'm barely in frame. My headphones are dying, and I don't have my battery on me, so I had to plug in. And my cable is too short.
So we need to wrap this up, right?
We need to wrap this up.
Do we have anything from Spotify?
Probably. We had the poll, which was how cool.
Held at gunpoint right now.
Yeah, this is great.
We had our poll from the last episode, which is jet boots. Jet boots, cool as or totally lame, and 100% of people said that it was cool as so
100%
scientific.
That's the
scientific. So thank you for listening. We love interacting with you and keeping you in the conversation, talking about our favorite franchise in the world. And you can post at us on our socials at WeGetAPod, and you can email us at wegetapod@gmail.com.
What if I just read this super slow so that Randy is stuck in the corner? Thank you to Rifti Beats for letting us use this track, Kakarot Theme Hip Hop Trap Remix. You can find that track and other great music by Rifti on his SoundCloud. Ken, where can the people find you?
You could find me at Detective X, where I'm doing fan art of Reddick meeting Bardock. So check that out.
Oh.
Ooh.
And Randy, where can the people find
So
you?
they can find me at Saver_Breaker on various things. Douglas, what about you?
And you can find me at DrabazDoug on most social media spots.
That's fantastic. Now, I apologize to those listeners here who are outside of the U.S., which there are plenty. So thank you, number one, for that. Two, sorry you got to hear this, but I just got to throw it out there for all of our U.S. listeners. Make sure you're registered to vote and to tell your friends. That's very important. It's coming up in just a few weeks. So do that. Make sure you set aside the time. Go in the morning, go at night. Your job has to let you go if they have you scheduled the entire time the polls are open. That's the law. And otherwise, get an absentee ballot and vote from home. It'll be super cool. And I'll, I don't know, give you a high five if I see you. I think that we can legally do that, right?
A lot of Randy high five.
A lot of people act like voting is a big hassle. And dude, just vote early. You can just go out and do it. It takes
a lot of
5 minutes. I have never once waited in line to vote for anything because I just go early.
Yeah, you can go on a weekend if you go early. Like, you don't have to go on a Tuesday. You can go on a Saturday.
Totally plan it around your schedule.
I think you're mistaking the voting ballots. I think you're at Wendy's when you're doing that. That's the line you're actually waiting at.
That would explain a lot.
Fries.
Yeah.
But yes, go vote, please.
And while you're voting, tell the pollsters there, if people are calling at you outside the voting place, be like, hey, sorry, listen to We Got a Podcast.
Yeah.
And just let them know that you voted.
Let you know that they're already listening.
Yeah. Let them know that you voted for We Got a Podcast as number one Dragon Ball bi-weekly Dragon Ball podcast coming out regularly.
That's like how many qualifiers we have to have.
So many asterisks.
And while you're at that, tell them, say, hey, subscribe to them, review them.
Hit that like button.
And then as you're walking and you moonwalk, turn 360 degrees, go back to your car, turn at them and say, we'll catch you matinator.
See ya.
Bye.